Hi, this is Ingrid from Quiltessential Co, and we're ready to do our block of the month for May. And of course, it's still COVID, so we're just coping. We will manage. This is the block we're going to make this month, and when you join a whole bunch of these together, as you'll see in your pattern, it makes an amazing design. So I hope sometimes you're going to make a whole bunch of blocks and join them together and make a big quilt. Before we get started, let me explain about this too. This is a new little pattern that I made. It's just a one sheet little pattern, very inexpensive, and it's called Panel Perfection. Because sometimes we have a 24-inch panel, whether it be a kid's panel or a grown-up panel, and we don't always know what to do with it. So I just made a quick and easy way, and if you want to make the quilt bigger, you could add one more border to this and it will be a twin. So the pattern will be available, and we've also got some kits. We're also trying some different things because we can't get together. So we do have Friday specials. They go from Friday to Friday from 1 week, and we always have a different one. So we usually put these on our Facebook page, so you can look there for information about that. And if you don't do Facebook, you can always call us because we're always on the other end of the line. So let's get cutting. So now we're going to cut. We're making this block. So first of all, we have A and C, both big squares, B, 4 rectangles, and D, 8 little squares. And that's all we're going to cut this time, just 4 fabrics. First, we're going to be cutting our A and C, and they're both cut exactly the same way with step 1 on your kitty corner ruler as we use it like normal. Careful when you cut these little pieces off because we're going to cut something else from that in 1 minute. So we're going to cut our A and our B, A and C, exactly the same way. And then before we go any further, as I've got these little pieces here, I'm going to be cutting, and this is in your instructions, I'm going to be cutting a little square out of 2 of these. So there's 2 stacked together, and I'm going to line up my ruler and do 1.75 inches right on that little corner right here. So I'm cutting it 1.75 inches. I need a new blade. You'd think I'd have new blades. So 1.75 inches out of the scrap. So here's my C, and I'll do the same thing out of my scraps of my A. So line it up nice and carefully. And cut those out. So we will have 2 of these in a minute, 2 of these, and we already have 2 of these and 2 of these. Now we're going to go on and cut our B's, and they're going to be cut with step 2 of our kitty corner ruler. We're going to be using our cutting edge here, put this on and cut B. And just remember, before you go too far, you want to make sure you do step 3, which is cutting off the little corner for placing. And you cut all of your B's like that. You've got another set to cut. When we sew these now, we're going to be on our A and our C. We're going to be putting a B, and we're going to sew these together and make our block. So I'm just going to go sew those and come back. So we've now put together our A and B's and our C and B's, and now we're going to trim. And just remember, trim 1, tuck that nicely into your triangle, and make sure that this straight line goes out on your point. And you're just going to trim those. So line them up nicely and do trim 1 and trim 2 in a second. Just make sure you do this before the next step, because otherwise your math is all going to be wrong and your block won't be good and you will not be a happy camper. So make sure you trim before you do the next step. So trim 1, flip them around, trim to, and everything is in your notes about sizes and all those kind of things. I've heard lots of good feedback. Lots of people are happy with their blocks. So this is good. Now, this is AB. This is CB. And we're going to put the opposite. Remember, we cut those little 1 3/4 inch squares. We're going to put the opposite one on the opposite color. So C will go on A and A will go on C. And you either mark the diagonal or you pop down your folded corner clipper and you are just going to put that on, put the 1 3/4 mark there, and just take that off, sew it down, press it back, and do exactly the same thing with your other side. And then we'll meet back. So now you sewed those extra pieces on here. Just make sure that you press the way I told you. So I press to A and press to A. That way, when we do finally sew them together, those seams will nest really nicely. Last step, and if you have a rotating mat, this is a great place to use it. You're going to put your D's on either side of your B's, like this, and again, cut with your folded corner clipper, or you're going to use that diagonal method and sew. You're going to cut on both sides. So when you do this, you have to do a little flip like this. And if that's awkward for you and you have a rotating mat, go get it because it's a really nice feature. So when you're done on all of them, you will be sewing down here. So when you've finished your block, it's going to look like this. This is where you've added those last D's. When you sew it, it tells you which way to press your seams, and they should nest really nicely because I've asked you to press them a certain way. So enjoy that block. So every summer, I try and do a mystery quilt. So if you want to join along, please call us. You can use your own fabric, you can use our fabric, or you can do a combination of both. So we're going to do a really cool mystery, and you know me, it's going to be clever, and it's not going to be tiny, tiny little pieces. It'll just look good. So I hope you want to do that with us. And if you found this video useful today, please leave us a like and click subscribe for future content. And this has been Ingrid from Quiltessential Co, and thanks for sewing with me today, and we'll see you soon.